Hello everyone, welcome to episode 51 of FPL the Onion. I'm back after a week off last week, missed the 50th episode, but no worries. Nick, how are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you, Mr. Shlee. Yeah, it was a shame that you missed the 5-0 last week, but big thanks again to Tom.
Yep, thanks Tom.
For joining us, and yeah, it was a good episode, and we had some good numbers on it. So hopefully we can continue that this week.
Yep, and to timestamp the episode, we recorded on Wednesday night. City are 1-0 up at Leipzig. Mahrez has scored. Hopefully he'll keep quiet the weekend because they've got Bournemouth this weekend. I'm a bit worried about.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy selling KDB, but I think Mahrez owners would be pretty happy to keep him if he's back in flavour.
Well, KDB's not even in the squad, is he, tonight? So.
I saw that. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. But yeah, recording the night after the 29 doubles were announced, so we jumped straight to the ticker maybe. But yeah, we're discussing this quite a bit. Although we were just saying before we came on, we're maybe a little bit undecided what to do. So I think it'll be maybe some light predictions about early thoughts. But I think next week is more the time when you've got to have a plan put together. Is that where you are, Nick, or are you already got multiple plans and permutations in your head?
No, I'm going to try and. I think as we always do when we get to these really complex times of the season, you've got to look at kind of the optimal teams to target. So at the moment, I'm trying not to play too far in advance. So I'm looking at teams that double 25 and still have a fixture in 28. Obviously, it's slim pickings, but you've got Arsenal
and Everton, isn't it? Basically,
so everyone should be tripled on Arsenal, really. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And then I think I'm going to try and bring in at least. Well, I think I'm going to try and bring in Tarkowski because I think, to have the double and then have a fixture in 28. Although when you look at them, I don't actually expect them to keep that, many clean sheets in the next few weeks. But I don't think I'm going to commit to a plan for kind of wild card and bench boost and free hit just yet. But just try and keep the options open this week.
Yeah. And I think the big take home for listeners who don't know is the middle of next week is the FA Cup games, isn't it? That will confirm what happens in 28. And some people joking that the most watched FA Cup fixture in history and in the FPL community will be the Fulham versus
Fulham Leeds.
Yeah, the outcome of that will decide whether Liverpool blank or play in 28.
Yeah, so, and that'll be massive. But it's annoying though, isn't it? Because if you knew that now, I probably would go ahead with kind of at least double or tripling up on Liverpool, but because we don't know that, I might be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, agreed. I'm probably on 2, but I don't think I'll go 3.
Yeah, we were saying before we started, weren't we, that when I saw that Salah and Nunez had scored and Salah had assisted and it was 2-0, I was thinking, right, definitely three Liverpool in. But then when they got humped 5-2, I was like, do I really want to go in big on this club when you just don't know what kind of level of basket case they are at the moment?
It's just a crazy result, wasn't it? Like, what on earth do you do with that? I don't think the XG was too dissimilar. I think it's maybe like 2 each or something, maybe 3 for Real. But, to be 2-0 up as well in the 14th minute, you're thinking, this is great, off we go. They got 2 clean sheets in the league, what was in the last 4? Trent seems obvious. And then to be smashed like that, and can't blame it all on Gomez, but I think hopefully he was a bit of a reason if Matip comes back. But
even I can't remember whether it was it the 2. I can't remember. I don't think it was the 2-all goal. Maybe it was the 3-2 or the 4-2. But the free kick on the edge of the box from Madrid. Did you see that? Where
Modric just dropped it in. Yeah,
it didn't seem to be
any.
I think they were trying to zonally defend it, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a strange kind of trajectory, and it's quite close, wasn't it? And it was quite clever what Modric did, but yeah, everyone just looked ridiculous.
And then Modric for the last goal, where Modric, who's like 37 now, and he literally ran straight through the entire team.
Yeah, great going forward.
I think that's the thing.
Vulnerable at the back, but then you think,
that's the thing that puts me off.
Wolves and Palace going to really do that to them? I mean, they're going to try, aren't they? They're going to know that they're soft at the back.
No, but you are right to point out the quality of the opposition because, and I'm thinking because the only defender I would even think about having is Trent, and yet, you're not getting him just for clean sheets. You're getting him for the possibility of the attacking returns as well. So,
Yeah, although you say that, I mean, there is a 1.2 difference, is it, to Robertson? I still wouldn't put people off Robertson, but I think other than that, unless you really need a goalkeeper, probably wouldn't go near the central defenders. In fact, it was only about 0.4. Okay, it's a lot tighter than I thought. Robertson 6.8. I thought it was more like 6. So yeah,
No,
fair.
but
I think it's Trent if you can, because it's what is it? The backup is so much weaker. It's probably Gomez, isn't it, compared to
mm,
Tsimikas, who's decent. You might get a game. But yeah, I'm the same. Salah for sure, way out on top, and then it's quite tight at the moment. I mean, Darwin played, didn't he? But obviously came off, and he's got quite a lot of threat for his position with
yeah,
Jota and Firmino coming back. So I actually did the
uh,
Salah transfer last night, thinking that the prices might move. First time in ages I've gone early. I had exact money because I haven't. It's very unlikely, but I haven't ruled out just making that one transfer this week and rolling, which would be a bit strange. But
yeah.
I don't massively love some of the options this week. I mean, I'm maybe about as tempted with Mahrez as I am with blooming McNeil, who I'm also thinking of bringing in.
Oh, really?
Well, I am thinking of bringing McNeil, yeah, but McNeil versus Mahrez is probably a ridiculous thing to say, isn't it, in any other league?
Yeah, and that's the thing about doubles, isn't it? And you've got to say to people, just be careful on it because, really think about what you're trying to do. I mean, Mahrez could get a 15-pointer against Bournemouth, and you've brought in McNeil who gets 4 points across 2 games.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. I hadn't realised that Liverpool's fixtures in 29, which is obviously the double, is City away, Chelsea away,
Yeah,
and
poor
then
double.
they've got Arsenal at home in 30. I mean, it's not it's not amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew about the poor double, but the fact it's Arsenal again straight after. I mean, yeah, Leeds and Forest, that's pretty good, but yeah, if you're carrying Liverpool and not wildcarding around, then you're going to be kind of stuck with them, aren't you?
Yeah, although if you think about who the alternatives are that you might have, I guess United have got. I mean, their fixtures aren't great in that double either. Newcastle away and Brentford at home, 2 tough fixtures. So City obviously not doubling in 29. So
Yeah,
I guess
well, true. Although that is the defensive ticker, I'd imagine it favours United a lot more than Liverpool in that. Yeah, they're both a bit better. I mean, I'd much rather have Fernandes and Salah in that, I think. Oh, hang on.
I don't
Sorry,
know.
I was looking at 29 and 30, not 29 and 29. It's
Yeah,
got
I
them
don't know.
quite
I think I
similar
probably would. That's what I was looking at. Is I think I probably would rather have Salah out of
in the
like
double.
Salah, Fernandes, De Bruyne.
Yeah, maybe. But then Everton afterwards is much better than Arsenal. But yeah, it's a bit
Still a lot. I
tricky.
guess there's still a lot of football to be played. Like Chelsea could have a new manager by then. And
True. The other thing that just screams out to me there, again, the number of times I look at Ben Crellin's image and this, I've been trying to decode all sorts of stuff and all the permutations, is if people are going to free hit in 29, that Arsenal Leeds fixture, that's the bluest fixture of them all in 29.
I know.
And I don't, if you do that, a lot of people are saying, well, you'd only have one Arsenal max, but I don't love that idea.
No, I mean I've seen people who are saying wildcard 29 and have no Arsenal, and you're like,
Wow.
because they're just so focused on the doubles,
Mm.
and yet they're the best team in the league.
Well, I mean, you can sort of see why in a way. Yeah, they've got single and Liverpool away and City away in 33, which I've not coloured yet.
Yeah, and then I don't think they're likely to have a double in 34 either, because
I've
people
got
are
Ben
already looking at.
McClellan's thing here. Unlikely double. You're right. Yeah, Chelsea and Southampton at home if it happens. But then they're so cheap, and they're good champions. You're really going to go from 3 to 1.
No, I
Anyway,
know.
there's a lot going on, isn't there? That's why I
There's a
think it's got
huge
to be
amount
next
going.
week.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, that's all the chip strategy done. Just go through the usual stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all very clear on what we're going to do now, right?
Quick check in on the Onion League. Mark Bleakley still at the top. It was a 20-point swing between the top 9 there in terms of points, so a fairly tight one. Tom Harris had a good week. That was mostly for playing Tarkowski when many people benched him, including myself. So 63 to Tom. Good work.
Up to
Mark,
third into the bronze medal position, Tom. Very nice.
yeah, on transfers made, it looks like not on alphabetical order. Yep, so it's pretty good. And yeah, I think Mark's down to 46th in the world at the top, so he's looking pretty good. 45th,
Yeah.
sorry. Doesn't have Saka, but he's got Kane. come to that in a bit, but he's probably going to move Kane to Salah, I imagine, or Darwin.
Yeah, or both.
Yeah, he's got De Bruyne as well, so yeah, or both. My week last week, transfer rolled, having 2 this week, I thought was pretty essential. I got a small green arrow, I think it was maybe 10,000 places climbed, just inside the top 400k, 54 points. Mitrovic didn't play, so I got Andreas off the bench. It was a bit annoying because Tarkovsky was second on the bench with 8. That's probably the one of 2 big mistakes I made. And the other biggie, which I really didn't consider a lot, which I'm kicking myself about, was that I just never really considered Rashford captain. But interestingly, on my ticker I looked at in hindsight, I actually had City as the 9th best attacking fixture last week. And I think City, I had United certainly in the top 3, but never really looked beyond it. When you just auto Haaland, but then a lot of people saying even before that, oh well, it was a no-brainer for me. I captain Rashford. His home form's been so much better since the World Cup. Forest have been very good at home, which that fact I did know. The sort of home and away for Haaland I hadn't really seen. So I was obviously onto something slightly with Rashford Vice, because I know a lot of people also went Saka, but yeah, that was pretty annoying. And Mark Sutherland's went Rashford didn't even got in the 80s, so amazing if you got on that. That was a decent swing.
Well, yeah, but Mark Sutherland's also, I remember listening to one of their pods back in, when was it, August or September time, where he went against Haaland and Haaland got a hat-trick. So it's the thing. I mean, Haaland, I think, had a couple of, I didn't see the game, but I heard he had a couple of good chances,
absolute sitter
that he missed. Yeah, including an absolute, XG1 opportunity. And this is the thing, like, Leicester, I listened to a bit of the Leicester United game, and then saw the highlights, and Leicester had some really, really good chances.
Yeah, they were good at the beginning. Yeah,
could have gone 2 up in the early stages of that game, and then suddenly United scored against a run of play. Now Rashford, not to take anything away from him, he's been amazing, but it'd be very, very easy to see those scores reversed, right? And then the trouble is, and I looked at this as well, before the games have been played and before Rashford gets his 15 points and Haaland gets 2, if those scores are reversed, you're looking at an enormous rank drop, because Haaland's EO was up around like 180, 190 or something. And Rashford's was at whatever it was. And mine, I think
110-ish.
That's right. So if you captain him, you're getting like that 90% boost, which is amazing. But it's not just kind of the chance of what could happen if you captain the other player. It's also if you hadn't captained Haaland and he'd gone mad, it'd absolutely destroy you. So I wouldn't beat yourself up about it at all. Obviously, it would have been lovely if we'd done it. But I had my vice captain on Rashford as well. But I just think it would have been such a scary thing to do. And it could so badly have gone the other way, couldn't it?
Yeah, true. Yeah, could have been a hindsight thing, but that was a kind of lesson learned I had for this year, that sometimes even if with those high EOs, I agree it's scary, but if he's not the best captain, he's not the best captain. And yeah, it's whether you've then got the guts to do it. I do err on the comfort blanket of that 180-ish EO. But if Rashford's over 110, he's obviously hurting you for whatever he does.
True.
So it's a tricky one.
And I'm guessing you're not gonna captain Haaland this week when you've got doublers.
Correct. Yeah, between Salah and Saka, isn't it? It's tricky.
Yeah. I had a similar-ish week. I obviously didn't have Bruno Fernandes, which was the big kind of difference between you and I. I've taken almost all the money out of my defense, which is now looking incredibly weak. I was kind of umming and ahhing about whether to play Bueno over Lewis, and in the end, I saw Luke on Twitter predicting that Lewis would play like an inverted DM or whatever he's calling it. An inverted winger or something.
Just seeing if he's playing tonight. Oh, they got Kyle Walker at right wing on them.
He's on the bench, I think, Lewis. I don't know whether he's come on, but he was on the bench. So people are like, oh, he's fit. That means he's going to play at the weekend. But I don't. I'm not banking on this. I think. I've probably got to get rid of Lewis, I think. But it's either I've got 3 very, very cheap defenders, and all of them are potentially minutes risk. So I've probably got to do something about that this week, given that Shaw and Trippier both blank. But nice to get returns from Saka. A bit annoying again that De Bruyne didn't get anything.
Ridiculous.
Really hasn't done much, has he? But and again, Kane to kind of only get the assist. And Nketiah again had good chances. They win 4-2 and he still doesn't score. So he's been really frustrating actually, because I think he was actually it was a good move to get him in, but it just hasn't really come off.
He's quite an underperformer on his XG at the moment. He's getting the chances, just not putting them away.
Yeah, so that's really frustrating, and it probably also means that when Jesus gets back, he's probably going to kind of get his place back relatively quickly as well. I think if he keeps missing these chances, maybe it's the threat of Jesus coming back that means he's missing them. But yeah, Odegaard, it was nice to get three bonus from him, even though he just got an assist and Saka got a goal. But yeah, it was just a kind of holding week, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got a sort of decent-ish green, but it's a bit easier at your rank. But yeah, we're on greens, which is nice, and it's kind of your Odegaard and Kane was my Fernandez, but sprinkling was kind of similar, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. Okay.
I think I might have 5 greens in a row now, which is good, but I'm still like not making massive progress, but steady away, I guess.
Yep, steady is good. I've got a list of questions, but we'll talk about our teams and then we'll go to those, see if we didn't cover any of them, but they'll probably come up as we go through this. So here's your team for next week: 2 free transfers, 0.5 in the bank, and you were saying, unsurprisingly, lots of -4s and -8s planned. And it's funny because you've got 11 on paper, but yeah, your defence.
Yeah, my defence is an absolute disgrace. But this is the thing, and I've been kind of saying this to you, and I've been saying this kind of on the pods the last few weeks, is that when you've got the rare thing that we have this week, which is teams that blank and teams that double, say to anyone,
your eyes just light up.
Yeah, this is the week to take big hits. Last season, I reminded you about this on message the other day. That last season I took a -16 in a blank game week, and there weren't even any teams doubling in that game week. And it actually, that -16 paid off that week and continued to pay off in the weeks afterwards.
That really catapulted you, didn't it? It was about game week 28 or something. I think Son came in and was it like 0.2 in the bank? It might have been 0-0. You had to do it maybe on the Thursday night, I think.
Yeah, I think it was like Doherty, Son. I think I already had Kane. I can't remember, but it was kind of, or maybe I didn't have Kane. And I went for Son and Doherty and someone else. But it was again, if you like for me this week, I've look at the 3 defenders I'm playing. So it makes sense for me to try and fix 1 or 2 of those defenders.
And
then it fixes my team.
You've got Shaw, Trippier benched, obviously, and then Patterson, Bueno, and Lewis, who technically all play, but you're probably going to get 1.5 games out of them max.
1.5 games out of
fixtures.
It could be 1.5 games out of the 3 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's scary about it. So, I mean, that's why I'm looking at the potential of a -8. I could this week just do De Bruyne to Salah. I don't think I can afford to do, because I've only got 0.5, so I don't think I can afford to do De Bruyne to Salah and then say, Patterson up to Tarkowski or something like that, because I think I'm just 0.1 short.
Yeah.
So I think what I'm looking at, I don't love it, but because Kane's got Chelsea, and I was listening to Planet FPL, and James was saying that he reckons that Chelsea they'll do really, really well against Spurs. They'll really frustrate them. So I'm thinking maybe Kane is my cash cow, and I go Kane down to, I could go Kane down to Darwin, and then I could do De Bruyne to Salah, and I could do Shaw to Trent, and then Patterson to Tarkowski. I think works, and that's a -8 for 4 transfers, because obviously I rolled last week, so it'd give me 3 Liverpool, and it would give me an Everton doubler who's going to play and is hopefully a threat from set pieces and corners. I don't actually fancy Everton for a clean sheet in either of those games, because they've got Villa at home and Arsenal away. But I do wonder whether Tarkowski could just get a cheeky goal in one of those games, just a header or something, because hit the post against Liverpool. And
obviously beat Arsenal recently. It's away, isn't it? So unlikely, but no, fair.
Yeah, and it means then, I think that means then I can bench.
You bench Lewis, I guess, and you have to play Bueno.
Yeah, and I think Bueno out of Lewis, Patterson, and Bueno is probably the one that I'm most confident of some minutes in. I think he will share some minutes with Ait-Nouri, but maybe I'll get lucky and he'll start both games or something like that.
Yeah.
Although obviously he started the last game and they lost 1-0 to Bournemouth, so that wasn't great. That wasn't great. But yeah, and then I think other options potentially are I could do a kind of De Bruyne down to Gakpo, and then upgrade the defense and keep Kane. Obviously, not have Salah would be pretty terrifying. But it means not having to carve the team up quite so much and kind of keeping Kane, given that he's been so much more of a consistent asset than Salah this season, and just kind of ignoring.
Yeah, is it scary not having Salah? I think it's scary not having Salah if you've got De Bruyne. So it's probably not applicable discussion, but I think if you have Mahrez or something, then Andreas to Gakpo or something, or Almiron to Gakpo or something, I can see why people might do it. But his minutes are a bit of a risk, isn't it? If you go in Liverpool attack or midfield, it's Salah by some way, and then Darwin close second, I guess.
Right, as in you. So you're saying, as in, if you got rid of De Bruyne, you would have to go to Salah.
I think most people would think that. Yeah, I think given he's got pens, 90-minute man. Okay, Liverpool are awful, but if they are going to click, like you say, it's scary not owning him. And he's a potential, captain this week. And isn't there another week where he's a potential standout captain for? Bournemouth doesn't massively like him on that ticker, but 27. There's doubles, isn't there, actually? So you're probably going to go Brighton or Brentford player there. So actually, maybe that's it's not a captain consideration.
No, and that was the other thing I looked at potentially was, do I kind of go a little bit of a halfway house, and instead of getting Darwin, do I get Tony, bench him, and then have him in place for 27?
It's just those 8 yellows, isn't it? Do you want to do that yet?
No, I know that is scary, that, isn't it? The thing is, I think all the season people have been kind of waiting on players getting those yellows, and it hasn't really hit anyone, has it?
Yeah, true. Or unless the ban gets him instead, the other ban.
Was it James Maddison? Did we get him in, and then he got 5
yeah, true. Yeah. Although then there was Kane, wasn't there, who didn't get it in his double. Did Mitrovic?
I think Mitrovic as well.
Mitrovic got it, didn't he?
I think I had him, and he got the yellow in the second game of that double.
I forgot about Maddison. What an idiot! He was in red hot form as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. So that was super annoying. I don't think Maddison's was for a double. I think it was just for the next game week, wasn't it? But
it was that blank when City and Arsenal blanked in 14-ish, and we did need him, and then everyone got him outraged transfer, and then he was great again afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. He went nuts after. It's been such an annoying season. But anyway, out of those plans, which do you just think the Liverpool one is the most obvious one? Just 3 Liverpool.
Well, I was going to just rank those transfers in kind of importance. I think De Bruyne to Salah is pretty no-brainer. But with your defence, I would say actually probably a defender transfer is higher up. So, in isolation, just looking at your team, 0.5 in the bank, I would probably say one of those guys to Tarkowski is probably the most. That's probably going to give you the most gain in points.
Yeah.
Then
you don't have to just make one transfer a week, right? So as in...
No, absolutely. But if people maybe haven't got 2 frees or haven't got as much money as you, are thinking, right, well, what priority order do you put those in? And then the fact you got Kane is that obvious cash cow, like you say. He is your Fernandes to me, and probably thinking of Fernandes out. He's got blanks, so it's even easier for me maybe.
Yeah.
So I do then like what you've come up with after that. Yeah, De Bruyne to Salah seems a no-brainer. Kane to question mark is the one, isn't it? But even if you've got money of Kane, even if you have the money, having done Kane to Darwin, to get Trent in, it does seem pretty good. Can you do?
So I think I can do, if I do Kane down to Tony, I think I can do one
like
of the
Lewis up to Trent.
Yeah, I think I can do a Lewis up to Trent, but I think if I do Kane down to Darwin, I have to do Shaw out.
Yeah, so and we were talking before, weren't we? That we haven't even discussed removing Rashford, and I wouldn't advise anyone to do that. But removing, and I've got Triple United, they're obviously playing great. Removing 2 of them is quite scary. So that would be my only
especially when you think
that
especially when you think that in Gameweek 26, when they come back, my defense is going to be Tarkowski, Bueno, Lewis, Trent, and Trippier. And that's the thing. Actually, moving forward, as soon as Trippier comes back in, and if it's Shaw for Trent, then it's passable then, because it's basically Tarkowski, Trent, and Trippier, isn't it, going forward with Bueno and Lewis on the bench?
Yeah, that's fine, isn't it?
Which is fine.
United though, Liverpool away doesn't like on the ticker, but that could be blimmin' 3-0 United, and then Southampton is good. So it's with a heavy heart I'll be getting rid of United assets. It's probably the thing to do. just to, you know,
And
they've got the cup final. They might.
It could be 3-0 United, but it could also be 3-1 United, couldn't it? And then Shaw's just there on 2 or 5 or whatever. But
oh yeah, depends if he's. They were saying today, playing left back and getting attacking returns, or playing centre back and maybe comes off on 60 minutes and gets a blooming cheeky clean sheet or something.
yeah,
He's good to
he
win
has
so many points, isn't he?
He has been okay. But I
Brilliant.
think if I'm going to Trent from him, because really that's the point. I'm downgrading Kane, but I'm getting a, you know,
Yeah.
it might be that Trent has a really good second half of the season now.
Yeah, no, true. You know,
So,
or you know, it's 3-3 and he scores a free kick, then you're kind of happy.
yeah.
So yeah, I like those moves for sure. I'm just trying to think of any other variations of them, or what would influence that Tony versus Darwin. You know, assuming nothing in the press conferences, you're not going to see them
No, I
play
think
anymore. It's what is it? The same number of fixtures for both, assuming Liverpool blank.
yeah, probably.
1, 2, 3.
The big difference is
no, Liverpool have got an extra one.
The huge difference is though, right? Tony's on penalties and he's 90-minute every game, whereas Darwin's gonna worry about his minutes.
True, but then Tony has got a blank. You're doing a hit to bring someone with a blank in that immediate future. It's not going to gain, is it?
Yeah, true. But then it's saving me a transfer in 27, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah, true. And I have considered like getting Matoma this week, or Tony, for example, as well. Just one of those crazy plans, but it, like you say, you're booking it in ready to go.
Yeah, but you're right. I guess what I could do, and I could roll a transfer in 26 and then make the Tony move for free in 27, couldn't I?
Yeah, and unless you're already loading up on transfers to get through 28, because you're probably going to need all of them.
That's the other thing that I again advise everyone to look very closely at, is count how many players you've currently got for 28. Because if I go for 3 Liverpool this week and then they don't have a fixture in 28, then I'm looking at, I think I've got about 5 or 6 players for 28, which is obviously not very good at all.
Yeah, and that's
Brentford,
the same as me.
Brentford blank in 28 as well. So if I'm looking at getting Tony in for 27,
yeah,
it's pretty horrendous, really.
And just to go into another bit of a chip chapter here, because I'm on the same. I think I've got worst case 6 players in 28, and yeah, Liverpool might come in, and maybe Patterson's first choice by then, and what else could happen? You know, if that Liverpool game goes ahead, the Fulham game goes ahead, right? So you know, I might have quite a few. But let's say you got 6 and 28. Does that not just scream free hit? Like, I think a lot of people will have that same situation, but they're still talking about free hit 29 to kind of capitalize on these doubles. You'd have to take a few hits to get through in 28 to then free hit. I don't know, it just seems a bit strange. I mean, the maths we did last season around then, I remember it took me 3 iterations to get it right, but I think you just try and tot it. Well, if you want to go that far with it, try and tot up what you could get, because yeah, losing out on 5 times 2 points in 28, because you wouldn't be bringing in 5 players obviously, but to potentially gain 5 extra doublers in 29, it might be, you know, it might actually be quite a close calculation.
Yeah, it might, but also if you look at, I'm trying now to look at teams who play in 28 and then double in 29. So like if you were going to wild card 28 and then save your free hit for something else, you know, like 30, 32 when there's going to be another blank game week.
Yeah.
The teams that play in 28 and double in 29 are not teams that you want to be loading up on. You got Villa, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Chelsea, fine, okay, maybe some Chelsea, but again, who knows whether they're going to start being okay. Newcastle, I guess, again, you know, a few of us are going to have those. But then you've got Forest. There aren't loads, and they're not amazingly standout, are they?
Yeah, and you find it very hard to. Yeah, I haven't really heard a lot of wildcard 28, but it's good actually just to talk it through. You probably wouldn't have many Brighton and Brentford, but that screws you over for 29. Yeah, obviously you can carry 3 on the bench. United, you'd probably struggle to have, and I know we're saying it's not an amazing double, but they do have then Everton and Forest after that.
You don't want to. It doesn't feel like you would want a free hit 28 and then wildcard 29, does it? Because free hit normally it's because you like the fixtures, you like the players you've got in the game week before you would play it and the game week after. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that. I think at the moment I'm either free hit 28 or 29, and then
right.
Wildcard 33 and bench boost 34. I do quite like the idea of bench boosting very close to the wildcard.
So you would dead end into 32, so you
Yeah.
focus all your transfers on having players in 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that actually.
But that's kind of what we were discussing. If you free hit 29, you kind of sort of half dead end your team into 28. You might have to make 4 transfers to get something half decent out in 28. But then reap the benefits in 29 when you can have, probably not 11 doublers as we discussed, because I'd be pretty scared of not having any Arsenal players in there. And City versus Liverpool, that could be quite scary. You probably want to keep Haaland and Saka, say, but the rest you could go pretty fun with.
Yeah,
it's very tricky, isn't it?
It's really hard because you don't want to be looking at your team for 28 and see that you've only got 5 players or 6 players, and you're taking hits for players who have just got like an okay fixture just to get somebody out, and it just doesn't feel
But
great.
I suppose the other way of looking at it is if it's the likes of, the best attacking fixture there, according to this, is Villa. If Fulham haven't got a game, Mitrovic to Watkins could be quite nice.
Yeah.
You're going to wild card him anyway. He's actually got quite a good run after that. There's so many cheap players, isn't there? You could bring a lot of these players in for the bench. Mings can come in.
But that's why 28. That's why 28 could be better for the free hit, right? Because you could just have 3 Arsenal, 3 Villa, 3 Chelsea.
Yeah.
3 Newcastle.
And for people like us who have got Nketiah, that could also be a thing if he's a threat around then. And he'd have to probably deal with him the week after. But having a guarantee, we're saying we've got 5 or 6 players, but one of those is Nketiah.
Yeah.
He could be under threat then. One of them's White. What might be happening with Tomiyasu around them? It's hard, but it's also very interesting for people like us who like to stare at this stuff, right?
Well, I think this is the time of the season where we potentially, if we get it right, we potentially kind of make up some ground on the people on the dead teams.
If this graph's going to do anything, it's hopefully around now. It's not up to date for the last few weeks, but it's pretty flat.
dive to the bottom. Yeah.
Anyway, anything else on your team? Any other thoughts you have?
No. I think the sensible play. I think I probably need to just analyze this Darwin versus Tony thing and see what it does for me. But I don't love the idea of tripling up on Liverpool when they're such a basket case.
Brennan Johnson, don't forget him. Plays this week. Plays 28.
I know. I could do Kane to him, couldn't I? That might be sensible as well.
That sort of price point is pretty good. Yeah, 5.8ish. People are talking about is it Kutcher from Wolves. He plays. He's been coming off like 60, 70 minutes, so a bit of a risk, but it just gives you that bit of extra money around the place.
What about Ferguson at Brighton, 4.6 or whatever he is?
But he blanks it, doesn't he, this week?
He does, but then I think he blanks in 28 as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. And he's not that guaranteed minutes, is he? He seems to be coming off quite a bit. Dear. There's a lot of let's say average FPL, real life players in the mix this week, isn't there? People suddenly talking about funny players like, Kilman's not too bad, but yeah, Kutcher and Blimmin like Sarabia, they'll go and score now. Obviously, after I've said that.
I do think though, since you were plugging Brennan Johnson, maybe it's only been 2 game weeks, but he hasn't scored, has he? So
true.
That was the one thing about Brennan Johnson, is I was just like, he could just suddenly just not score any goals.
Yeah.
Whereas at least with Tony, you just think, he's got pedigree, hasn't he? But there's always something. There's always some reason why we shouldn't be getting him in.
Yeah, no, but he's. What is he on, like 14 goals now? We're going to be getting to the end of the season, a bit like Kane with me. You've had like 3 of his 20 goals. Very frustrating.
Yeah.
Right. So my position is. Yes, I already did De Bruyne to Salah, so you can kind of imagine that that's there, but the screen is as it was before I did that transfer. I've got Mitrovic, which is a bit of a problem because he is flagged, although that is the early game. To anyone that's got Mitrovic and worried similar to me, try and be around the deadline, might get some early team news. Current bench, Rashford, Trippier, I want to keep there. And I've got Patterson in the 11, but obviously he is unlikely to get too many minutes, but he could be good for 1 or 2 points just coming off the bench or something. I think he played in the under-21s, didn't he? But wasn't on the bench for their first team game, so it's a bit of a worry. And Bruno and Shaw, as I've said, I'm reluctant to sell, but then I'll just move this because obviously I've got some permutations that I've thought about, and the one that the model likes the most is option 4 of this, which is a -4, KDB to Salah, Fernandes to McNeil, Shaw to Trent. That is supposed to gain me nearly 17 points in the next 2 games and 24 points if you take the next 4 games into account. Just KDB to Salah, say option 1 is pretty low, and then there's all sorts here, -4s and -8s. What are your quick thoughts on which of those you like or dislike?
Yeah, I'm just noticing with option 4 that KDB to Salah, Shaw to Trent, you've already got Tarkowski, and the only one I would be doing is Kane to, Darwin or whatever, but Darwin would be my differential. That would be us bringing our teams like closer by three transfers.
Right.
Although I guess we already have KDB and Shaw anyway, but
3 because you begin Tarkowski.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have to, because again, that's that point, isn't it, of whether you look at it and say, right, I've got a player who's either not going to get any minutes or a blank, and then I take a -4 to get in a player who's guaranteed in a way to play. As long as he's fit to play 2 games. So I just think that Tarkowski transfer, whatever I do, makes sense.
Yeah, agreed, definitely.
But yeah, I've got Patterson as well, and you're right. I think it probably is worth me keeping him because he could suddenly start getting back in the team. Although Coleman getting that goal doesn't help us really, does it, as Patterson owners? Because I think he'll keep Coleman. I think James on Planet FPL again was saying that every time that Sean Dyche's team wins, he keeps the same team for the next game.
Right. Okay.
Which is a useful but annoying stat.
I'd seen that Planet FPL have done one this week. I normally would listen to that. They just did their normal Monday night one.
Yeah, they did it on Monday. I listened to it on the drive to football. But...
I listened to the hour-long Wire one last night with Praz and Late Rise. That was really good.
I haven't seen that yet. I probably need to give that a listen. But yeah, the other options, they're quite like edge cases, aren't they? What about, talk to me about Gakpo?
So that'd be, he's in a couple of those options. Option 3 is probably the best one that he's in. And that's tripling up on Liverpool. It's him or McNeil kind of, but the difference between 3 and 4 there is that if I get Gakpo, it's a bit more expensive than McNeil. I can't afford Trent, so I'd have to settle with Robertson, which it doesn't like quite as much on either of the horizons. And I just feel Gakpo tripling up.
Gakpo is surely a big upgrade on McNeil though, when he's got Everton and when he's got Villa and Arsenal.
Not if his minutes are risky, which they are. He came off with Darwin, didn't he, against Madrid? Firmino and Jota are sniffing about. Okay, he's got 2 and 2 in the league, but it's tripling up. At least McNeil's got a game in 28. He would just then stay on my bench. Was he 5.1 or something?
Right. Yeah, I guess so. And as you say, he's got a fixture in 28.
I could, if I really wanted Gakpo and Trent, I could do option 3 with, I haven't ruled out, say, Edison down to even Blooming Pickford or something. I haven't got a keeper for 28 either, so that is something I could do.
Have Leicester not got a game in 28?
No, I don't think so. I
thought they had, but you'd have to be playing Ward.
It's likely they haven't. I don't think it's confirmed.
Okay.
Yeah, Gray is pretty unlikely. So, yeah, you'd rather have Gakpo and Robertson than McNeil and Trent?
No, I don't know. I think you're probably right. I think the fact that, again, it's annoying that we don't know whether Liverpool are going to play in 28, but I think the fact that McNeil does play in 28 is really helpful, isn't it?
Gakpo's got 2 goals in 2 games in the league, but 79 minutes against Everton and 58 against Newcastle.
Yeah, but does Jota impact him? Because Gakpo hasn't been playing up front, has he? Hasn't he been playing in the midfield 3?
Or has he been Gakpo's been up front, I think.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? And they are just such a basket case.
Yeah, it's more because I've got probably 2 others I think that I'm scared off. I think if you haven't got any Liverpool and you can only afford Gakpo, I think go for it.
And you could do Fernandes to Matoma and just bench him, but you haven't got 11 at the moment, have you? So
exactly, and I haven't got, I don't think, any mega plans for? I mean, your transfers. Maybe this is another way of looking at it. 26. I think I've actually got a bit of a bench in header that week, so I would probably roll, or maybe if I got to play same with Neil, maybe get Matoma or something early. But I'm thinking certainly by 27, I need Matoma and another Brighton or a Brentford. Cover, and maybe like Ep51 or something. So I think. That's why I kind of want McNeil, because I probably won't then shift him on, say, to Matoma. I want just him to give me 2 points in 28 as an option if I don't free hit.
What, and shift somebody else to Matoma?
Yeah, Andreas probably.
Andreas, yeah.
I'd have the money to do that. I've got that Ep51 actually, because he has been pretty handy at Brighton. The fact that you or I have no Brighton cover makes me think we've got to probably get at least one of them, but two if possible. And Matoma's tricky, isn't he? Because he looked great, but he hasn't scored for a couple of games. I know Brighton have been very unlucky. That Fulham result was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and those fixtures are good, aren't they? West Ham at home, Leeds away, Palace at home. Maybe getting him in 26 is the play.
Yeah.
Could you get that West Ham fixtures? That's quite a nice bonus, and that offsets the fact they blank in 28. Rather than just like getting him and Tony in for 27 and then they both blank in 28.
Yeah.
Because all the same with Brentford, actually, right? Look, maybe that's the play this week. Is you just, for those who've got a decent defense, unlike me, you just do like a De Bruyne to Salah move, and then you roll, and then you use 2 transfers in 26 to get like Matoma and Tony. And Brentford have got Fulham at home.
Yeah.
In 26, that looks nice as well. Yeah, it's just so difficult. Like the way it's fallen, I don't think there is like a perfect way through it.
The most fun way is the classic short term wildcard 27, free hit 28, bench boost 29. That would be the very fun in the next month. You're gonna drop all your chips and go all in Brentford, Brighton. Free hit 28 is gonna be really fun. That will give you an insane boost, but it's just then you're stuck. And the big downside people are talking about that is that the international break between 28 and 29 means I don't really buy into this too much, but your bench boost is right after an international break, which is a bit tricky. You'd have a free transfer obviously and a hit if you needed to.
Yeah.
To probably get it out for -4. But then you're kind of stuck with that team on. You've got to get through a blank and 2 more doubles with no chips. But in hindsight, people will do it and it might work out great. So that would be pretty fun. But yeah, I feel like it's a bit on the fence what you can do, and therefore it's fun to plan, but you kind of get a bit tired of planning for a bit, and it just would be good to execute a fun plan.
But also, you are looking at those fixtures and the doubles and the blanks. You are basically using, all of your powerful chips to, you've got all your eggs in Brentford and Brighton, haven't you? Really, you're gonna have 3. You're gonna have 3 from each.
Yeah, if you did that plan, sorry. Yeah. But their fixtures around then following are pretty good. You'd be pretty happy holding. They're not got bad fixtures.
Yeah.
Okay, Tottenham and Chelsea for Brighton, but Brighton have shown that they're decent, and Spurs have got problems. Chelsea have got problems.
The other issue though with that, right, is that you'd probably have 3 United as well, because they have Southampton in 27, only a single, but then they also have a double in 29.
Yeah.
But Brentford play Man United in 29. Brighton and Brentford play each other in 29 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of your players are playing each other.
In fact, Brentford play Brighton and Man United. All your players are playing each other.
I don't know, but if it's 3-3 or 0-0, you're probably quite happy. If it's 1-1, then it's probably a bit rubbish.
Yeah, it's 1-1 with random scorers in all those games. Your season's done.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't put me off too much, but yeah, that's fair. Another slight downside.
Yeah, crazy. I'm just finding it
here. If anything, we haven't talked about. We've talked about Liverpool quite a bit.
Yeah,
KDB out, no brainer. I mean, he's frustrated the heck out of me. So I mean, he's already gone. Sorry, but yeah, I don't think anyone would argue with that. He'll probably go.
I think the potential upside with Salah is definitely worth it, isn't it?
Yeah. Kane out. Do you think most people with Kane are going to be tempted to get rid?
Yeah, I think they probably will be, and they'll, like me, they will probably regret it. Maybe not this week, but maybe over the next few weeks. I think for me, I just have to take some money out of my freemium and put it back in the defence.
Yeah, I mean, he does blank in 28. You know, Benton calls out.
Yeah,
they're not great at the moment. So I can
they're
imagine
not.
they were going to get good towards the end of the season again. But I think they need to.
But they're not going to do what they did last season and just be blowing people away 4-5-0, are they?
No.
So your chances are better with potentially resurgent Liverpool, but
yeah, will be a bit scary. 26-27. They've got Wolves and Forest, but then a blank. Everton, yeah, Brighton and Bournemouth's not too bad. But yeah, they're middling fixture. They've got them 16th on the ticker actually, so I think it's probably a good move.
Yeah. The only other thing I could do for free is I could just do KDB to Salah and then Shaw to Tarkowski. And just do that for free.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have a bench and you wouldn't be taking a hit, obviously.
I mean, my bench would be pretty terrible, but
you'd be keeping
keep Kane and not take a hit as well, because so many people I think are going to take -4s, -8s this week.
Yeah.
And all it takes is like a Kane penalty against Chelsea, and suddenly it's doing okay.
True. Yeah.
That's the other option.
Yeah, you're definitely having to. We'd have a bench then as well, but yeah, you'd have to play Lewis or Patterson. You're probably playing Patterson of those two, are you, or are you hoping for a start with?
Yeah,
Lewis?
I'd probably. Well, I don't know. That again, it's another risk, isn't it? Because I think I probably would still play Patterson because it's just the double. You're looking at the double, aren't you?
Yeah. Trippier, I wouldn't advise anyone to sell him. I know he's not been great the last few games, but Guimaraes is out.
Dropped in price, didn't he?
His
dropped in price last night.
But his numbers are still brilliant with transfers created.
Yeah.
I think everything else we have discussed. So should we leave it there?
Yeah, let's leave it there. I think I could probably continue to confuse everyone about potential chip strategy, but I just don't think there is a best, kind of best option yet. And hopefully it will emerge over the next few weeks. So I'd say just try and keep your options open if you can.
Yeah, and just keep your eyes peeled next week, like next sort of Wednesday to Saturday. I think a Saturday deadline next week will be pretty big with everything falling into place, and then that's when you kind of need to semi-commit to a plan. You certainly need to know what you're kind of doing with 28. But yeah, good luck everybody. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye.